What is up, guys? Wraec is here with a new video, and today I want to talk about a topic you guys brought up after one of my last videos, actually. And I didn't really plan on making this video, but there were some comments, actually quite a lot of comments, about me retiring my SS SFX. Because I said that in the video, I just mentioned it in a sentence, and then I apparently that stirred up a lot of people in the comments, not in a bad way, just people were a bit confused about it. And I can certainly understand it. I mean, if you look at the auctioners and you see those SS SFX that we have here and the SSFX, those are copies, of course. A lot of people would wish for to have such a copy, to have such an SS SFX or an SSFX or any S hero really. And I feel like most people would treasure that and would like to have something along the lines of that. I was no different. I wanted to have an S hero all the time because I had those 80 heroes, but I never really gone ahead and bought an S hero. And then I decided I want to have an SFX, and at that time that was certainly a good decision. I used SFX quite a lot. She was one of my main heroes, always in the household, always with a very viable amount of resources invested into her. And that was something I wanted to make use of, and I rolled her a lot. I put a lot of hammers towards her. And then I ended up retiring, well, not that exact copy, but another SS SFX, which is another part of that story. And the reason for that is quite simple. I didn't use her. Not at all. I rarely ever used her. We put her in some videos. She was in the team. She even might have had a house, but she always felt like a bad decision or a bad choice for her team. And when I say that, is of course pretty easy. We have heroes in the game like Mockman, we have Vulcan now, and those guys, Mockman and Vulcan, the wrong direction, there he is, they destroy PvE. They destroy PvE, they destroy PvP, and they are the best damage dealers in the game, and SFX just isn't. SFX is a solid choice. SFX is one of the strongest single carry heroes in the game because of her dodge, her skill set. I mean, let's just look at her. She's the earliest Transcendence hero, and look at all those skills. Extra level of sharpness for an extra dodge can be so huge. Those counter attacks that she gains armor ignore and damage 1200% of attack against the entire team, and extra damage that we have here, 33% chance to the X damage, 25% of max HP. That is huge. That is enormous. And I remember clearing early campaign with her, like 3x, something along the lines of that, when campaign just had ended at 3.7, I think it was, and she was absolutely destroying enemies there just with those dodges, with those huge dodges, and that would take off big chunks from the whole enemy team, and that was fun. That was really huge. But with Mockman and Vulcan in the game, and me struggling in 4-7 quite a lot, Swordflash more or less was just a tenant for my Ferrokin vessel. And I used her as a tenant. I still had full sublimations on her, and at most points I was thinking like, oh, it's just like you have her at level 100, at one point even at level 120, you have all those tree mats in her, you have sublimation mats on her, and really you don't use her, because to use SFX you kind of need a good amount of stats on her. And nowadays you don't even see her in a lot of PvP teams anymore. She's just not in there. If you see people clear something and it's not Fortress SL, then you often don't see her in the team anymore. And I have to say, not that SFX is off meta. SFX certainly saw a little bit of a rise there when Reinvesting came back into the meta to counter teams like my PvP team a little bit. And that there she certainly has a place as a strong assassin, as like a carry hero. I can see her. But not in my team, not on my account. After I got her, my first team that I used was like a Starwing Jara team. We used Starwing Jara, we used Aspen, we built those CC teams. If you want to take a look back maybe at one of my videos, I may suggest you watch the Valentino video, because I made a video about Valentino in that exact team I was just talking about, and we added him to it. We made a triple CC team, we destroyed Daiko with it, and if you remember, I still have the copy actually. I have this wonderful Valentino copy with control immunity, offset control precision, and an A speed. So that was the team that we used. No SFX in there. And then later on, we switched it around a little bit. There were those Star Alchemist Homes teams that still look pretty similar to what I'm building now, like those super sustain teams with all the ways of sustaining with that were basically CC immune because of Phantom Defier Elena. And then all of those defenses that went in there, and now they feature even Ilamak, and they are just huge and strong teams. And those teams, again, don't feature SFX. And she just hasn't had a place in the meta for quite some time. And that was mostly the reason why I had to think about whether I want to use her or have an SS SFX on the account that I don't use. And you have to think about what that means. You essentially have a hero that, if we check out the retiring values, SS is at 100,000 contract starry gems retiring value. You essentially have a hero that is worth 100,000 contract starry gems at least, and it's sitting on your account just being a tenant and giving yourself maybe like 100,000 attack more than if you got a very good A+ tenant. That is a quarter of the value. So you could have less money bound into a hero that basically gives you the same effect. So at that point, I tried to sell her. And I tried to sell her for a decent amount of time. I put her in the auction house quite a lot. And it never really happened that I sold her. Even as I put her in for lower prices, didn't really work out. And in the end, I had to settle for... I could have sold her, I guess, for under 100,000 starry gems, maybe 90 to 95. I would probably have guessed that it was more towards the 90. That was what SS copies sold around that time. And that is a little bit confusing to people that such copies don't sell for the retirement value. And people always assume like retiring value is 100,000, it has to sell way beyond that. And if you look at the auction house, you might get the feeling that this is the case. You might get the feeling that this is the case. We looked at the SFX for a second a few minutes ago, and if we do that again, we can see S copy here 63 to 66.5k. Didn't sell yet though. That is something to consider with that. And then we have the SS S copy at 200,000. I think retiring value is like 150k or is it 200k? I'm not quite sure. What you have to keep in mind though is the special place SS heroes are in. And that is not true for all heroes. We can take the filter off maybe, that will show it to you. Vulcans are still a little bit of an exception at the SS tier, because they are still searched by, if you have like a 98 speed, 97 speed, those are insane copies. If they are worth that much, this is another story, but those are a little bit of an exception. And we don't really have a lot to show here, but those Jaras, for example. Jara already below retiring value, might go way below retiring value actually. If you look at those sales, those are super old sales. The recent one I saw, this one is I don't know, this is like 2 months ago. This is really forever ago. 2 months ago, 82k at 100,000 retiring value. So there are those copies like Jara at the moment, like SFX at the moment, where people just don't wanna spend the money to go for an SS. There are a lot more people willing to spend around 50k for a hero than there are around 100k. Even though you get the better copy, this 50,000 starry gems difference, that takes out huge chunks of the people that might buy it. So you have way less people interested in SS and SSS heroes than you have at ST heroes. So that makes SS heroes kind of hard to sell, and oftentimes you will see SS heroes way closer to the retiring value, or even under the retiring value, than you would see S heroes. S heroes usually can still sell around 60, 70k. You will be fine putting in an S hero above retiring value. They are a little bit better in that sense because you have more people interested in that. You have more people interested in buying them for those prices. I remember some time ago there were still A+ Ferric investors for 60k, and now you can get like an S tier here, skill damage, hour break, precision. That's a decent roll, lacking the fire by the way. And you can see those old prices here, 95, 100k. You could sell those for even above the retiring value, of course, because Ferric Investor is a hero for Star Expedition. But here you can see the drop 90, 80, 60. and 61 the last one that sold. So they're a lot closer to the retiring value. Honestly, this might even get closer to the retiring value as well, considering we don't see Defier here, and you would really love to see GK Defier armor break skill damage. That would be an insane roll, by the way. This is a very good roll though, but I don't think I would want one without Defier, but that is another question. So in general, that is something you have to keep in mind, and that is also the decision you have to make. Do you want 90k or at best starry gems, which you also have to pay another 5% to the H, by the way, because you only get 95% of the money it sells for. So you have to keep that in mind as well, and you end up with like 96, a little bit below 96,000, 86,000 starry gems, or you retire it for 100,000 starry gems, and then you can buy packs. Because even though I made my last video about starry gems and how they have a bad place in the game and the H doesn't seem to like them anymore, there are some buys in the starry gem mall, like the coupons, like X and stuff, and hammers, that I like to do, that I often do. And having some contract starry gems is always a good thing for that. And if I can get 100,000 contract starry gems at the price of, like what we said, like 86,000 starry gems, that is even better, because that's like 14k free contract starry gems that I will use for packs. Of course, I take away a little bit of the freedom to do what I want with these starry gems, because I could, of course, with these starry gems that I would have gotten from selling that SFX, I could have bought another S hero, for example. But as I didn't really plan on that, the option to just have those contract starry gems ready to buy packs seemed a lot more appealing. And that was, after all, the decision why I went for contract starry gems and why I retired that SFX. And by the way, there was a little bit more to that. Can explain that as well, because some people were also confused by something I said as well. So let's take a look at my SFX. So this was the SFX I bought that people saw a long time from my account, and this was also the role that I had some problems with it. And this was the role I had for the longest time. Block, control immunity, offset damage reduction, giant killer with a beautiful SFX, 9700 attack, 91 speed. Beautiful, absolutely insane stats, quite nice. And this was the role I had, and you can already see there is a certain lack of damage stats to that. Just GK basically as damage stat. That hurt the copy a lot. And this was the role I had for like, I think 3 months or something. I just didn't get a better role. And then shortly before I didn't use her anymore. I thought with a better role I might use her, but turned out that I didn't. That was the last role I had, and that, on the other hand, this is a really huge role. We have like skill damage, precision, giant killer, divine block, all of the good stuff, all of what that you basically want. You want the skill damage. You take some precision, obviously, the GK, some divine block for somewhat defense is nice. And one thing that you can already see here, I have like 0 contract starry gems at most points. Mostly because I just never retire heroes. When I pay packs from the starry gem mall, I often did that with starry gems. So that was another reason to go for some contract starry and have that ready. And this role, of course, is huge. And then I had this role, I tried to sell it, and Jesus came in and he said like, hey, do you want to make kind of a deal? Because I like your copy is great, it's a little better than my copy, and I would prefer to have a better copy. So what he offered was like, we switch our copies, he put his in the auction house, I put mine in the auction house, we each buy each other once, and I get like a little bit of starry on top. So that I have a little bit of starry, can sell her under retiring value and not make a loss in the end. That was like the plan that there was, that I could retire his SFX, which by the way was this copy. And funny enough, this is not even a bad copy at all. It's like 9500 attack, it's insane. I of course had more speed, mine had the better roll, precision, armor break, crit, giant killer, precision, okay, armor break does nothing for SFX crit, not that huge, GK, nice, but yeah, he could have sold that for, I don't know, probably below 90k even. And now he has my copy. I had this copy and I retired this copy in the end. So that was what happened, and that confused a lot of people. Now I have a ton of contract starry gems that I can use for packs. Though I have to say, if we check that out, we are already at 56k. So 43k already gone. 43,700 already gone. And I have to say, it happens quite fast. If you have like some contract story that is there to be used, you somehow buy cores that you didn't buy before. And yeah, that ends your contract story pretty swiftly. I mainly plan on buying those tickets here. I mainly plan on buying some more eggs for the moment. We still need to upgrade some of the star spawns on this account. They look a little bit better now. But there are still like, look at that, it's level 20, that's level 30. That is not maxed yet. And then we have still this level 20 account. So a little bit more to go on this account in terms of star spawns. But that is something I'm fully planning on doing. Can we upgrade this? Yes, we can. Nice. And yeah, so there's still some stuff to do. And that's mainly a story of the SS SFX. Am I going to buy another S hero? Maybe. But the thing is, I reconsidered that a lot. And I thought about S heroes quite a lot and the position they have in the game and why you should buy an S hero. And the thing is, with S heroes, people always assume that they get a huge upgrade when they get an S hero. And that this is like an insane step forward, like B is to A. So if you get like an A hero, you had a B hero before, you get the GK power boost, that is insane. It's not really the same for S heroes. And the thing I saw is, if you check through the S heroes, we saw this already. If you check out, this is precision control immunity offset GK divine blocked. Often those heroes have like 1 or 2 stats on them that are decent, but not really god roll worthy or not really insane. And sometimes they even have like a dead stat on there. You wouldn't roll for crit damage reduction on here. Heal effect of being healed. Holy armor is no great roll. And faction rule, that is a dead stat on a Vulcan. And again, faction rule. And here we have, okay, that is, I mean, you have Holy Armor Divine Block. You would have wanted Control Precision, it's not on here. We wanted Defier, that's not on here. And we could go through, here there is Armor, we don't need that. And you can go, reduce Tot Receive, you can go for any S hero, and often they have like pretty bad rolls. And the thing is, you just don't have hammers. If you are on those accounts that buy those big copies, they often don't have hammers. They have 23 projects, they have 23 80 heroes or something, and they have to roll the Vulcan, or they have to roll the Mockman, and then they have some hammers left for some of their S heroes. And oftentimes they have 1 dead stat, and if you have 1 dead stat and you have only 3 stats working for you, that means that you basically only make use of all the stat slots an 80 hero would have had, because you could have those 3 stats that you really use on an A hero. So that makes your S hero nearly worthless. The only thing your S hero then has going for it are just the higher bonus stats. You have like 81 speed, you have like your 9,000 attack or something, and that can be worth a little bit, of course. Especially the speed in PvP. If you have a 99 speed Vulcan, you will win a lot of matches. But you can see people in IDA, let's check that out, last IDA winners, or the IDA winners in the season before that, Hall of Glory. Let's look in there. Okay, God of Pain, I just wanted to kill God of Pain, but that would be a bad example. That dude's a whale. He's quite insanely strong. Let's check that out. Who do we have? Last season was a little bit whaley. We have Bloop. Bloop is a champion. Do you see any S tier heroes here? There are no S tier heroes. Because that dude just builds a strong team, and that works. That works. He just builds strong teams, and we have other heroes like that. We have other people like that. We have Kali. Does Kali have an A tier? Kali does not have an A tier. And he's strong. That dude, oh, he has A tier! He's a whale! Why did he buy an A tier SQH? No idea. But yeah, like you see my point still. That is not the hero that carries this account. It's just like, if you build a strong team, you still have a decent chance of winning. And that is the point. You don't really need those S heroes in the end. And most people that have S heroes don't really use them. Of course, if you fight the Jesuses here and this guy has like 6 S heroes and all of those heroes attack before you even have a chance to attack, that is a different story. But one ST hero often doesn't change too much. So, What would I buy as an S tier hero? I would buy an S tier MFF. That is what I would buy, because that can roll silence immunity, and that is a stat that I only get on S tier heroes. Those immunities, by the way, often not used at all. People don't want them. That is a stat I can only get there, and that will help in Star Expedition. And on top of that, also a tenant for my Ferric Vessel, and one of the strongest tenants in the game as well. So that is a hero I would want as S tier, and if I can get that for a decent price, I might go for it. Right now, they are nowhere to be found in the market, so will still take some time. So I hope you liked the video. Give it a like or subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I wish you a great day, and we will see us in the next one.